Today we're going to learn our next transformation. Who remembers what the big picture, what is a transformation? A change. The first one we learned was a translation, which was a slide. The next one we learned was a reflection, which is a flip. Yes. And this one today we're going to learn is called a rotation. A rotation is basically just a turn. It's a turn. And the center of rotation is going to be the origin, which is 0, 0. So what we're going to be looking at today is rotating a shape around the origin. So it will either move from quadrant 1 to over here or vice versa. Does that make sense? Yes? There are a few basic things that you need to understand about rotation. So I want you to flip your paper over, and at the top of your page, we're going to learn the difference between clockwise and counterclockwise. If you don't know the difference, then you would totally not be successful today. Does everybody know how a clock moves?
Yes.
You start at the top, yes or no? And to move like a clock, you move this way. You can't really say right because it's like you're moving right and then all of a sudden it switches to left. That's why we don't say move right. If we're moving in a circle, we say move clockwise or move counterclockwise. So counterclockwise, you start at the top, and instead of moving like a clock, you move opposite of a clock, which is backwards. Does that make sense? Yes or no? The next thing you need to understand is how many degrees we're going to turn it. So I want you guys to write this down. 90 degrees is one spot. What's 90 plus 90? 180 degrees is how many spots? 2. If I add another 90, I'm at 270. So 270 degrees is 3 spots. And 360 is 4 spots. That is basically ending up right where I started. I made a full circle. We are going to learn how to rotate a shape on a coordinate plane. Have y'all ever laid in bed and looked up at a fan and it rotates around the light in the middle? That's all we're learning today. Make sense? Okay. What happens to the shape? Like what happens to the fan blades when it rotates? Does it change size? No. Does it change shape? No. Does its position change? Yes. Yeah. Its orientation change. What you see of it. So everybody look at my hand. If I was to rotate my hand, its position changed and its orientation changed, but its size and shape, it did not, right? And then I'd have to like keep going, but I can't because this not going to work. Y'all get the point, right? Okay. So, if you have a coordinate plane, everybody should be writing this with me. If you have a coordinate plane, this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis. What we're going to learn is what happens to the coordinates if I move a shape from here to there. Well, how many spots would that be? 1. That's 90 degrees, yes? And which way did I move? Like a clock or not like a clock? I move from here like this. That's clockwise, right? This would be 90 degrees clockwise if this star went from here to here. And then if I moved, so that would be 90 degrees clockwise. What if I moved again? That's another 90 degrees, right? What's 90 plus 90? 180. It's 180. And if I moved again, 270. And if I moved again, I did a full circle, 360, and I would end up right where I started. And then do we have to draw it counterclockwise, or y'all get it? You would just go opposite, right? Yes or no? Now, what you need to understand is there are a lot of rules for rotations, because you could move 90 degrees clockwise, you could move 90 degrees counterclockwise, you could move 180 degrees. Now think about 180. Do you have to go either way, or will you always end up, no matter which way you go, 2 spots is going to end up in the same thing? Okay, and then you could go 270 counter, 270. That's way too much to memorize. Does everybody agree? Okay, turn to the front. I wrote the rules that you pretty much need to know. I don't want y'all to have to memorize these, but you have to know them for the STAR test. So what I'm going to teach you today is a trick called Happy Face Man. That's why you have a sticky note in front of you. Okay, it's kind of cheesy, and when you first learn it, it's kind of frustrating. But once you get it, it's the easiest thing ever. Now, everybody look at the rules, and let's kind of just look at what they are. For 90 degrees clockwise, it says to take your coordinate, and what happened? But what happened? Look, X is supposed to be first, right? They switch spots. And the Y is positive and the X is negative. Make sense? Okay, 90 degrees counterclockwise, look what happened. They switched spots, but which one got the negative? All right, 180 degrees, did they switch spots? Nope, they just both became. All right, and 360, did anything happen at all? Because it's a full circle, it ends up right where it started. Again, I don't want you to have to memorize these rules. Your assignment today should be very easy, because these are your answers. You're going to read the word problem. It's going to say, which rule is in 90 degrees clockwise? Well, there's your answer. But I don't want you to use this sheet. I want you to use the trick that I'm about to teach you, so that you know how to do this for the STAR test. Because like I said, there's 6 to 8 questions on the STAR test over this, and I don't want you depending on notes that you won't have. Make sense? Here we go. I want you to put your paper to the side and get your sticky note. Now, on the STAR test, you're not going to be given a sticky note, but you can use the back of your STAR chart. Did everybody hear me? The only thing you have to draw to make this work is a coordinate plane. So everybody draw this. Quickly. This is the part you better be paying attention. To make this work, you're going to label the x-axis on the right side right there. And you're going to label the y-axis up top. Then you're going to draw a happy face right there in quadrant 1. That's all you have to do to learn this trick. Okay? Now, what we're trying to learn is what happens to the coordinates when I rotate, right? Does everybody see right now the X is on the right side? That's positive. Yes or no? The Y is up high. That's positive. Yes or no? I need you to sit up. Okay? The x-axis runs from left to right. Does everybody agree? Okay. We are going to rotate Happy Face Man 90 degrees clockwise, and without looking at the rule, we're going to be able to write the rule. Are y'all ready? If I move Happy Face Man 90 degrees clockwise, where would it end up? Right there. Does everybody agree? 90 degrees is one spot, like a clock. So point to that spot, and what you're going to do is pick up your paper and move the happy face to the bottom right. To the bottom right. And you're pretty much done, and the rule is now written for you. Everybody ready? What happened to the X and Y axis? They switched sides. They switched spots, right? Does everybody see it? The Y is on the right, so it's positive, and the x is down low, so it is, so everybody look, 90 degrees clockwise, they switch spots, the y is positive, the x is negative. Make sense? You don't have to memorize these rules if this makes sense to you. So how would I write this rule? Positive y, comma, negative x. Make sense? Yes or no? Put it back to where it came from, and let's try another one. Let's do 90 degrees counterclockwise. So one spot, opposite of a clock. So where would this end up? The top left. So everybody pick up your paper and rotate it. I should have everybody participating. Did the x and y switch spots? Yes. Which one's going to get the negative sign? Oh, hold. The y is on the left, so it's going to be negative y, positive x. So let's look at our rule and see if that worked. Did we do it right? Negative y, positive x. Yes? All right. Let's try 180 degrees. So everybody put it back to normal. You always have to start like this. Okay? How many spots is 180 degrees? 2. Does it matter which way I go? No matter what, I could go 2 counter or 2 clockwise, and I'm going to end up here in the bottom left. So everybody rotate your paper. Did the x and y axis switch spots?
Yes. No.
No, they did not. The x-axis is still the x-axis. Does that make sense? They just both became negative. So they did not switch spots. The x-axis is still the x-axis. So it's going to be negative x, negative y. So let's look. 180 degrees, negative x, negative y. So y'all get it? All right, what about 270 degrees? I don't have that written down on my paper over here. Does that matter? No, because I have my little trick that I taught you guys. So how many spots is 270 degrees?
3.
Let's go clockwise. So clockwise, where would it end up? 1, 2, 3. Right there, right? All right, so I'm going to move my happy face man to the top left. Did the x and y axis switch spots?
Yes.
Okay, which one gets the negative?
Y.
So negative y, comma, positive x. What do y'all think? It's really not too bad, right? You just have to know this. Now, let me tell you where you will get confused. Do not look at the picture they give you. Did y'all hear me? They're going to give you a picture, and it's not going to start right here. And it is going to totally confuse you. Do not look at what?
Picture.
Don't look at their picture. What I want you to do is only look at the question. The question will say something like, if you were to rotate triangle ABC 90 degrees clockwise, which of the following rules? You go use this and this only. Did everybody hear me? Do not look at the picture they give you. Y'all understand? Only look at this. Your assignment is going to be found in the Google Classroom. But before you start, I want to go over a few things. If I rotate a shape, does it change size? Does it change shape? Listen to my vocabulary. Does it preserve congruence? Yes, that means keeps it the same. Does the orientation change? Yes. Okay? That's pretty much the only thing that's going to change. All right, grab a Chromebook. I'll pass out answer documents. Use Happy Face Man, and then check your answers with your paper.